Okay, welcome everyone. Hopefully you hear me working on the sound. All right, looks like we have liftoff. So welcome in and wow, good to see everyone. It is happy Sunday to everyone. If you're on the replay, who the hell knows when it is, but it's certainly Christmas time. So I'm happy to see everyone here. And we got some stuff to do. Oh wow. So plans change. Plans change. So several plans have changed, and we're here now though. So it's good to see everyone. And I want to say hello to everyone before we get too far lost in the fray. So let's back this on up and see who's been here since we've started. Let's see, we got Pert in it. What's up, Pert in it? Amy's here. Don McKenzie. Eliana Davidson. What's up to you? Ben Aaron. Scalesman Justice. Asha Harry. Amy. Tara. Indy Cindy. David Rogers. Say what? Tracy Fleetwood. Nature Loving Lady. Fur Baby Daddy. Blessings Galore. And Keena Lancaster. Five Green Acres. Fur Baby Daddy. Oh, I said that already. Don Steele. Keith. Lisa. Kayla. Judith Galloway. Post Punk Mama. Spike Dog. Ellen West. Icy Cat. Mary Martin. Frank Sassano. All right. Who else in here? Lewis, what's up? T-Bone, Snake, Criminal Network, Don McKenzie, L'Oreal, Starlight Synchronicity. Did I say Foxy Lady yet? All right, Bobby Smith, Kate U, Rebecca Ann 1965, Andre, Who Dis, um, Tracy Thornton, Shelley Klein, Jamie Blair, CLZL. All right, so good to see everyone. And wow, what can we do but sit here and talk? And that'll be the plan tonight. So, wow, so much is going on. Let's see. We got Joy Smith, Don't Dox Me, Tam S, Michael Lewis, Valencia's mom, Curious Chick P. All right, what's up, everyone? Boom. Happy Sunday. Well, I tell you, I'm not sure I've gone live since it was really hard to tell. I've just been very busy. So maybe I did go live at since the press conference, but I didn't really get to cover it. We had some fun to do, or some things to do, so I didn't get to make fun of him. V, what's up? All right, so Dieter, what's up? All right, so we got a lot going on. Okay, we got a lot of pots on the fire, so to speak. RoboCopster, hello. KLL, what's up? Um, so I have a special Christmas show planned for you that I'm working on, and I got a show with Rick in the works, and so I've been working on all of that, and wow, it's just a few days before Christmas, or a couple days, so we got a lot to do. Um, but tonight, okay, I'm calling the response to the insane post sentencing press conference because wow, it really was insane, was it not? And if you missed it, don't worry, we'll be reviewing it tonight. But it was insane. I mean, what's apparent is these people do not care about what things look like to the public or how obvious this is. So I'll have to get myself amped up to start talking about it. But it was just shocking. It was shocking, and it's been a process of awakening for me when it comes to Doug Carter. And it's crazy because if you would have told me a year or two ago, I would have said, no, Doug Carter is not corrupt or a problem. But no, they're just proving, they're proving who they are. And one thing that's at the bottom of all of this is Freemasons. Okay, they're all Freemasons. And so I was thinking about that in the lead up to this today. I've been thinking like, wow, you know, as you get to know Freemasons, one thing you learn is that they are obligated to protect each other, okay, and help each other, and uh, and it's just really concerning because you start to think about this, okay. Well, you got everyone in this is a Freemason, so knowing that they are obligated to help each other and take care of problems and all of that, it just starts to become very apparent, and I guess that's what I'm getting at with Doug Carter is one thing he cannot deny is that he is a Freemason, and I hoped for better. I hoped for better. Okay, so it is what it is. Welcome in, Debbie Mustard. Mm, all right, that's the only one. Oh, Lee Ann, welcome in. Okay, so oh boy, Mama, did I say David Rogers yet? But I don't know if I did or not. Did not, but welcome to you too, David. All right. Oh, that one dude, 75. Yeah. So anyway, I'm so happy to see all of you here. And well, I probably should have had some coffee to get all upset, but I'm not gonna. I guess I'm gonna do what I can do. Okay. I'm not gonna stop the show to go make some coffee now. So um, takeaways though. Takeaways. Uh, they are trying to discredit the defense attorneys at this moment because they know about all the bad stuff that will be coming to the surface. And that bad stuff implicates all of these parties that are part of the criminal underworld. What do I mean by that? The cartel, the meth trafficking organization, the biker clubs, and all of these meth dealing problems in Carroll County and surrounding area. They know that that's coming. So they're trying to ruin the lives and careers of the defense attorneys. And they're also pointing at us YouTubers, which I thought was so strange. Okay. What are these big guys with badges doing? Pointing at the defense attorneys and pointing at YouTubers. Why are they so sensitive to the things that people say on the internet? They seem pretty fragile. I mean, these big guys are pretty sensitive, aren't they? They uh, they got some fragile egos for some big guys under some big ass badges to be concerned about what we're saying here. Um, and on top of that, now they've sent out their minions to threaten us. So they're sending out their minions to threaten to kill us, and that's Frank Meister and Greeno. And they're sending out their minions to threaten us with criminal charges from Jerry Holman, and that's Frank Meister and the Witch. So it's pretty amazing that that the Indiana State Police and the Patty family seem to be having their minions come and threaten to kill us and to have us face criminal charges for exercising freedom of speech. If I remember correctly, the Constitution is a pretty big deal, and that includes the right to criticize, comment, and opine on subjects of public interest, as this Delphi murders case. So it's very, very interesting what we're facing here. Um, like I said, they just seem to be doubling down on the bullshit and then trying to go into the smear slander campaign in order to discredit everyone who speaks against that bullshit. And I mean, like the defense investigators, they've already started a smear campaign there. Like I said, with Angela and myself, the threatening to arrest, okay, and these sorts of things, and then having, of course, the meth head minions coming and threaten to kill us. It's insane. It's insane. All right, so yeah, so you see, the problem is this. I'm not going to stop talking about the meth dealing and the meth dealers and how that turns into this. And I'm also not going to stop talking about Tina Rodell's snitching on her own children. I'm not. So do what you have to do. All right. Now you notice, okay, so what they've done, they used Westerman to try and do their bidding, and that didn't work out. Okay, that didn't work out. So what happened is they've dropped the charges and they're going to expunge them. Okay. Now they used Shane Meehan to go in and blow the head off of Greg Ferenczi to shut him up. It appears that they're going to try and drop those charges, and he walks. Are you seeing a pattern here? Are you seeing a pattern? So all the ones who do their bidding and commit crimes, they get their charges dropped and they get expunged. Okay. Other people get killed and burned because this is how the cartel does it in central Indiana. So, as I said in my prior episode, why would the law enforcement be protecting the cartel? All right. So now, one thing we figured out with this whole case is, as always, follow the money. Follow the money. It's all about these pipelines of money. We figured that much out. Okay. Um, so we'll be, I guess, getting into this. Um, but really, for those of you who haven't seen this, if you're new to the case, this should be absolute required viewing, because this right here, if they never made it obvious before what they were doing, what their function was, who they were covering for, uh, that they're never going to intend to get to the bottom of all of this, uh, this will prove it to you. So, before we get started, I'm sorry, I know I can't even get 5 seconds in without without starting with a, you know, without stopping it to say something. Um, Question: what is the primary color of the Hell's Angels? Hell's Angels. I'll wait for it in the chat. Okay. Primary color that represents the Hell's Angels. Oh, you guys don't know very well, do you? Oh, there you go, Snake. Snake got it. Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Good morning. My name is Jeremy Piers with Indiana State Police. I'd like to thank you all for being here today and for your continued cooperation throughout the course of this trial.
I got to stop it. I'm sorry. I know that I can't. Okay. I know that I can't get like 5 seconds without stopping it every 5 seconds. But okay. First of all, yes, red. Okay, red primarily on white or and white. But Um, Jeremy Pierce. Okay. Do you guys remember him? You guys remember him? You guys remember him? You guys remember him? He was the guy who made the Anthony underscore shots announcement. Okay. The Anthony Shots announcement. Yeah. Uh-huh. Now he's the public information officer with the Indiana State Police. No big deal. It's not like it's a mind blowing, but I'm just saying that he should be familiar to you. So, but we'll be getting to that in the future. I really, it's not my intention to go into Anthony Shots, but we will be. Pardon me.
I'd also like to extend a special thank you to the Canal Center for allowing us to use their facility today. As we move forward, we remain committed to keeping Abigail Williams and Liberty German at the center of our focus. Their memory has guided us every step of the investigation, and the photo displayed behind us serves as a powerful reminder of why we are here and what this case has always been about. Due to the gag order, it has been some time since we have spoke publicly about this case. Now that the order has been lifted, we are grateful to be here today and speak to all of you. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce to you the speakers: Mike Patty from the families, Carroll County Sheriff Tony Liggett, Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter, and Carroll County Prosecutor Nick McClelland. At the conclusion of their remarks, Prosecutor McClelland will take a limited number of questions, and he has requested that all questions be directed to him. On behalf of those standing behind me here today, and all those who have dedicated countless hours into this investigation, we thank you all for your continued support. I'd like to introduce to you our first speaker, Mike Patty.
Okay. He made an important point here, and I'm glad he did, because I want to touch on it before we get into this, because he prefaced it with because the gag order has been lifted, right? And I want you to understand the tirade that you are about to witness is a result of the gag order being lifted, and they are now able to smear, slander, try to discredit everyone who disagrees with them. So in other words, this whole time, these people who all look like they're constipated, all of these constipated traitors here, they're constipated because they've been holding in this rage at us for quite a long time. So this is the day when they get to express that rage, and you're going to witness it. So anyhow.
Thank you, Jeremy. I don't have a nice speech all prepared. It was kind of a last minute thing here, but I really wanted to take the time to send out my appreciation that justice has been served for the girls.
You catch the twitch?
I want to thank the jurors. Hope they get a chance to see this, that they took time out of their lives and remained open-minded and objective, and was able to look at the information and deliver a verdict. For that, I will always be grateful. The community. This community has embraced our families from day one and continues to lift us up and support us. And again, for that, I'll always be grateful. I want to thank them. The investigative team and the prosecution, thank you for staying steadfast and
Catch a twitch?
continuing to work towards this. It's been almost 8 years coming, If I live to make it 80, it'll almost be 10% of my life that's been spent working
Making it all about me, because it's all about me. It's all about me. What about Abby and Libby?
on this. And to the judge, I want to thank her as well for her steadfast staying on course, staying on track, and helping us get through this.
Yes, because the judge absolutely railroaded Richard Allen. She absolutely blocked any defense from being presented. She aided the prosecutor at every turn and established a wall of secrecy around the proceedings so that the world could not see what actually transpired. So I'm sure you are grateful.
Thank you very much. Tony?
Did you catch that? I did, before I continue, I want to say that watch that again. That's very odd to me. It's very odd to me how he directs Tony Liggett. Very odd. So let me let it play. Buck, I want you to watch it again. So watch how he directs little Tony Liggett.
And to the judge, I want to thank her as well for her steadfast staying on course, staying on track, and helping us get through this. Thank you very much. Tony?
What, do you run shit?
Good morning. The end of 2016 and the beginning of 2017 completely changed the fabric of Carroll County. We lost 6 beautiful young girls, and all of that happened within a 6-month time span. My office is not a part of the investigation into the Flora fires that's being headed up by the state police. We would do anything that they would ask for us to do, and I know they're working extremely hard on that case as well. Carroll County is a tight-knit community, about 20,000 people. It used to be a place where people didn't lock their doors.
Well, that was stupid because we are living in 2024. I think everyone needs to lock their doors, regardless of where you live, because rural areas in particular have a plague of meth problems, which usually includes criminal activity. So locking the doors is essential.
I believe that the verdict and the sentencing will help ease some of that sense of security.
No, what? So let me ask you this: why would railroading Richard Allen and sentencing him make people not lock their doors anymore and make them feel safer? Why should putting Richard Allen away make anyone feel safer? Because don't you still have 500,000 fucking meth head tweakers in Indiana running the streets?
For the people of Carroll County. The people who live here are very resilient. I think you can see that just in the families, the Germans, the Patties, the Williams. Carroll County is an amazing place to live, to work, to raise your family. I want to thank all of the people of Carroll County and the families for their patience during this investigation. I keep hearing the word closure. People are coming up to me saying, I bet that you're glad that there's finally closure.
Really, you think this is closure? Hold on. Do you really believe this is going to be closure? So what about the next 5 years of appeal?
There will never be any closure in this case. The Germans and the Williams family lost their daughters, their granddaughters, their siblings. Justice, a form of justice was served, but it does not bring Abby or Libby back. These families will live every day without 2 of the most important people in their lives. They're missing milestones because of a low-life coward decided to take their innocent lives. They did not deserve this. Today is not closure. It is just turning the page and starting a new chapter. My heart is.
Sorry, Tony Liggett. My question for you, though, how are you so confident that Richard Allen killed those girls? I'd like to know what makes you so confident that Richard Allen killed those girls, because from everything we've seen, like, there's zero confidence in that fact. I mean, the best you got is a bullet that cannot be really sufficiently tied to him. So what makes you so confident that he killed those girls? That's the disturbing thing about all of this. And I think you guys in the Indiana State Police don't realize that for the public, it's really extremely concerning, because there's nothing that makes the public confident and assured that Richard Allen killed those girls. There's not even much that assures them that he participated in the situation that led to their deaths. So it's just somewhat bewildering as to why you are so confident that he killed those girls.
Has been broken for these families. I want them to know that we stand with them, and I want to apologize to them that it took 8 years for us to get to this point. This case was quite the undertaking for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. There are so many people that put a lot of time in assisting us with bringing it to a conclusion. You see a lot of them right here, and there are many that aren't standing up here. There are so many agencies to thank for standing by our side. Just to give you an idea of the support that we had just for the trial, we had 36 outside agencies help us for just the security during the trial. On the afternoon of February 14th, at least that many came to help us investigate this case. Everyone from detectives down to dispatchers to help investigate or just to answer phones. I remember a conversation after we found the girls with Jerry Holman about whether or not we were going to take the case or Indiana State Police were going to take the case. Well, it was not my decision. It was not my decision, but I knew we didn't have the resources needed to do this on our own. Holman made a commitment that if we took the case, ISP wouldn't leave us and they would stand by our side and provide any of those resources that we needed, and they did just that. Tobe Lesenby was the sheriff at the time, and he asked ISP to stand with us. I want to thank Doug Carter and the rest of the Indiana State Police for being with us during this time. The reason justice was served today was due to one person, a person that only knows how to give. She has given herself literally for free to this investigation in different ways since about March of.
So you all going to give her all the reward money and let her split it with you, and we'll call it even?
2017. Kathy Shank, while filing, scanning, organizing, found a tip that led us to be here today. Throughout this investigation, especially when things happened during the month, for things that happened during the month of 2017, that was a time when Kathy was not helping us. When she would come across something that she didn't know, she would always bring that to an investigator, and every time that she brought us something and said, "Did you know this?" We knew it, except for the tip that she brought us that got us here today. To borrow a term I believe was started by Becky Patty, a saying that meant enough to me that I had it on a sticker on my computer, in my car, and on my refrigerator at home. The goal was actually to be able to say the words, and they ring true. There is zero doubt that justice has been served, and today is the day. Thank you.
Okay, warning, warning. Uh, get your hip boots on because we're about to be delivered a huge steaming pile of bullshit. Uh, so please get the waders on.
I had prepared remarks today, but I decided walking in here that I wasn't going to read them. John Perrine reminded me that 2,866 days ago, this entire thing began. I didn't know what I would think, and I didn't realize today we were going to be walking into the same room where many of you were, I believe, again, from memory, April of 2019 or that time frame. And over the course of these last many years now, several of us, me included, have been mocked and ostracized for our emotion.
Okay, here's where we go with the shaming and blaming. Shaming and blaming. Mocked and criticized. Far be it from us to mock and criticize a bunch of monkeys who are half incompetent, half corrupt, and playing on the public's emotions and sanity with 7 years of gaslighting about tentacles and shacks and one piece of the puzzle and blah, 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 mystifying and all the shit you've pulled. Change of direction. You never thought we would know the killer be in this room.
For our inability to answer questions that you might ask, and the thought that we're something other than human beings. I'm not going to apologize for that. I often say I wish people could see what goes on behind the scenes, and not just with people dressed like me, but citizens of this county and of this city. It's amazing, amazing acts of unbelievable courage and self-service and self-sacrifice. I wish you all could have been in the courtroom today and heard the victim impact statements. I'll always remember them. And I hope you'll get the transcripts and read what was said and try and understand the context of those words, even though you weren't.
You see, the thing is this. We should be given the entire transcript of the entire trial for free. It should be published. Since you chose not to allow cameras or audio recordings in the courtroom to give the public some sort of confidence in the proceedings, the least you could have done was produce audio recordings. Since we couldn't have the video recordings, but we can't have either of those, the least you could do is have the entire thing fully transcribed and published on a public server for the world to be able to access. All of the evidence should be released to the public. All of the exhibits.
In the courtroom. Over the course of these last many years, there have been many investigative strategies.
Oh, are we going to get to the bullshit now where you've mystified and you've talked and you've riddled the fucking riddles out of us? Okay. Public doesn't want to hear any more riddles from you. Sketch is not a photograph. It's not a sketch. It's not a photograph. It's the tentacles in this room and then under the bus and in the shack. And public doesn't want to hear another fucking word. And I'm surprised that you guys wouldn't have figured that out by now. That the worst thing you could have possibly done is this press conference. Because this press conference will be used to mock and ridicule you for the years to come. Because you cried like little babies about YouTubers. and defense attorneys who were only trying to do their job, but were not allowed to do their job.
Notion of a cover-up, any notion of us deciding the outcome of this, any notion of any connection to anything else is not correct.
Twitches. So there's no cover up, says the cover up. There's nothing connected to anything else. And how dare you criticize us? Even though we lost 70 days of very important interviews, we don't even have a record of who that was. It was probably all the most important players and may have been the killers. We didn't test DNA. We contaminated DNA. We lost DNA. We lost fingerprints. We couldn't fucking find the fingerprints. We did familial DNA testing. We haven't provided the results of that. We didn't allow geofencing, even though we know we had multiple phones around the crime scene. What about the fog reveal and those sort of proprietary searches? You've hidden everything and conducted a trial behind a wall of secrecy. But sure, it's the public's fault for being suspicious of those sorts of things. How dare we?
It's not correct. I've never been a detective in my entire lifetime, but I get to represent some of the best on the planet Earth. And I listened to them intently. And when they made strategy decisions associated with what the next steps would be, my job was to support them, and I stand by those decisions, every single one of them.
Oh, you know what this seems like? It seems like plausible deniability or distancing yourself from the investigative decisions and strategies that were made. So, are you trying to distance yourself from the change of direction or from the conflicting sketches or from the lying to the public? Or like what are you trying to shift the blame onto the detectives for the things that you did?
The gag order. We lived by that. We lived by that gag order. The defense did not.
This is where you blame the defense for the death of an individual whose death is solely the result of the way that your detective, Jerry Holman, handled him and the way that some of the YouTubers threw him under the bus. So the YouTubers who were doing your bidding and your detective treated Robert Fortson like a dirty rag, and he killed himself. And this is where you point at the defense attorneys and blame them for it. This is unforgivable. This is unforgivable. And I bet you that man's family doesn't like what you just did.
And it cost a human life.
Sure did.
Anybody that shares those photographs of those two little girls should be held accountable, whether they're in the public sphere, whether they're emailed to you, whether you found them in a place you didn't want them to see. I hope that if you ever see them, you'll picture your own children as Abby and Libby. I'll never forgive that. I will never, ever forgive that. We lived by the gag order. Documents were released from the defense. that drove a public narrative that many of you.
Oh, no, we're not going to let you get into that because now you're going to try to talk about the investigation of Greg Ferenczi, Todd Click, and Kevin Murphy, the results of their investigation. A penetrating investigation into the criminal underworld of central Indiana. And the information that the defense found in discovery as a result of the investigation of Mr. Ferenczi, who was assassinated by a white supremacist piece of shit, who you're now going to allow to get off scot-free.
About. And damn it, I wish I could have responded,
You're responding now.
but I was not going to violate what Judge Gall said. So they were able to get these documents out there and create a public narrative that you and many others, many of you, and many others believed around the globe.
FBI agent Greg Ferenczi believed it, and he was killed for it. Todd Click believed it. He's been arrested for it. What are you going to do to Kevin Murphy? Or did he decide to cooperate, so he's going to get away with his part?
Baldwin and Rossi are responsible for that, not this team. The family effects, I think you'll see the words that were spoken by the folks that spoke today about their lives and how they've been forever changed, how they'll never be the same. And they said it in ways that were beautiful in some kind of a mysterious way. There's an attorney in Indianapolis by the name of Guy Relford. And I heard Guy on the radio after the verdict, when a lot of hate mail came, death threats came. And I heard Guy Relford say that day on the radio, and I called him 15 minutes after he said it. And after 40 years in this business, I never thought about the jury's perspective. But he said the only people that mattered in that courtroom was the jury. And he went on to talk about, he's a very bright attorney. He went on to talk about what they can see that we can't, that you couldn't. They could see the defense. They could see the state. They could see the witnesses, feel the emotion, and they could see Richard Allen. I'd never thought about that perspective because we have a singular view most times. You, me, it's human nature. Judge Gall was the keeper of the peace in that courtroom, but the people that mattered were those 12.
Keeper of the peace? You see what I mean? Do y'all see what I mean? The most obviously biased judge that you've probably ever seen in your life presiding over a criminal trial. These people are on stage right now, fully supporting all the actions she took, calling her a hero, a peacekeeper, a helper. Like I said, this is the showing of the hand. This is doubling down on the bullshit. This is certifying the biggest cover-up in Indiana history.
And we have a system of justice that allows them to decide the fate of a human being. That's what our founders had established. And that's what they did. I hope you all understand that what you say and how you report matters more than you can ever possibly comprehend. This is an opportunity for us to all learn about what social media is and isn't, what we should do and what we shouldn't, and understand that their words have consequences.
Oh, so hold on, Douglas. So we should not have public commentary on pertinent social issues that are happening contemporaneously. So we should not use social media to have a vigorous public debate, which is the foundation of the United States of America and of democracy at its finest. So we should only use social media as an extension and a mouthpiece of the Indiana State Police. And when you are doing things that we find questionable or we want to debate about, we should not have that debate, but only serve as a mockingbird media for your organization or your objectives. So your intentions are what matter. So that makes sense when we start to think about Murder Sheet and the 90% of the YouTubers and the podcasters who did your bidding. Now it all makes sense, doesn't it? They were being good little dogs. Good job. No wonder you all used podcasters and YouTubers to push your narrative, and then you used organized troll gangs to come and troll those of us who disagreed with those narratives. It makes this entire monumental media campaign understandable now, because now we're now getting a peek into the mind of yours.
To other human beings. I appreciated Guy's perspective, and it changed my of the criminal proceeding. Richard Allen knew. We live in a country where people can hate, people can say things about other people, and that's.
And what's wrong with that? What's wrong about criticizing public officials? You see, you are in a position of privilege. People who serve the public are allowed to be criticized by that public. And it seems that you're not too happy, and all of you on that stage are not too happy about being public servants and or yet being criticized by the public for the nature or the quality or the substance of your service. We have a problem here. You chose to accept a paycheck from the state of Indiana and to put on a public servant's uniform and a badge and step into a public office. You made that decision. Just like when I decided to step my ass in front of this camera, I decided to put myself here and knowing I would receive criticism. You decided to become a public servant, as did McClellan, as did Tony Liggett, as did Fran Gull. You became public servants. You're going to receive public criticism.
Okay, hate me. It's okay. It's one of the only countries in the world where you can. So hate me if you want to. The investigative collaboration is something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. There's no way we could possibly chronicle it or articulate it or write about it or anything. There's no way we could ever do that. We are human beings, and there were mistakes made.
You don't say. There were mistakes made. I think that's downplaying it a bit. There were gargantuan errors, so many and so large, to be honest with you, that it's hard to believe that they were truly innocent mistakes. Which is why people scream corruption. Because the mistakes, the coincidences, they pile up to the extent that people start to suspect that they are intentional and not mistakes. Which is when we start easing into the territory of corruption.
But there was never a mistake made that we knew was wrong when we did it.
How do you know that? How do you know that? Were you there when those 70 days of interviews were deleted? How do you know that was a mistake that was not intentional?
I'll crawl across shards of hot glass for Jerry Holman. Jerry Holman is not a liar.
Well, there's a reason that Fortson is dead.
Jerry Holman gave the last 8 years of his life to something much greater than himself.
And received a sizable paycheck each of those 8 years. So that's 8 years of fat ass paychecks to do his job. Yes.
We fussed with each other throughout the course of this in conclusion. We argued with each other. I remember Tobin and I had an argument right here in this other room in April of 19, as you should expect us to. There was no groupthink. We debated each other, as you should expect us to. But then the defense spins it into incompetence. It's ridiculous.
Incompetence. That's putting it nicely. It's putting it nicely, Doug. 70 days of deleted interviews in the very first months of this very important investigation. You think that being pointed out as incompetence at best is a problem?
It's ridiculous nonsense for Baldwin and Rozzi to have done that.
Ridiculous nonsense.
And finally, most importantly, to the Delphi community and to the family of Abby and Libby. Words cannot possibly explain what we all feel. But what Nick McClellan did and the rest of the team that was associated with this, every single time it was about something other than themselves. It was about this community and that family. And we owe them a debt of gratitude that can never possibly be repaid. How about we start to heal now? How about we hit that reset button and understand that justice in this country was served, and if you don't like justice in this country, go do another one.
Justice was served. It ain't over. It's not over.
Let's heal. Tone down the rhetoric. Stop all the politics and all the nonsense and all the conspiracy.
Hold on. Okay, Douglas, this ain't politics. This right here, this is one place where we all get along despite our politics. Because I'm sure that the people here in this chat are a myriad of various political views. I know that. I know we are. There are people in this chat who are at the extreme opposite end of the political spectrum as I am. And you know what we do? We all put that aside for something bigger than ourselves. So politics, this ain't. So don't try that one. That was a low blow.
streets and under
Conspiracy theories, this ain't. So all of these ad hominems and generalizations ain't gonna work. That don't work. And we ain't leaving another thing. We're not leaving our wonderful America, land of the free, home of the brave, because you do things in a way that we don't like it. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to exercise our rights, our freedoms. We will speak. Speech is the most highly regarded freedom we have, and we will use our speech. And you can send Frank Meister to threaten to jail us for Jerry Holman and the family, and you can send Greeno to threaten to kill us for Jerry Holman and the family, and you can send Murder Sheet to slander us and go into our backgrounds and get some dirt on us and put on their podcast. You can send whoever you want to try to smear us and discredit us and scare us and do whatever you want. You've had a whole contingent of people doing it for 2 years since I set foot on this fucking platform. I will speak.
understand that we all tried the best we could. That should be the message to us and to our kids.
Oh, really? The best you could. So the best you could, we'll be getting into that.
And to this most amazing place we call the United States of America. Well done. Thank you all.
Good morning. Can we all just have a little bit of a sigh of relief that this thing is over finally?
How much blow this guy's done in his life, do you think?
The convictions come in. We've got the verdict. We got the sentence, 130 years in the Department of Corrections. And while I don't think ever this verdict or this conviction will ever bring peace to the family, I hope that they can take this sigh of relief with me to say that this part of the trial is over, that we got the conviction, that we got the sentence that brings justice for Abby and Libby. A few of the things I am going to say are going to echo what Sheriff Liggett said, what Superintendent Carter said, and what Mike Patty said. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank some people along the way. Law enforcement, Carroll County Sheriff's Department, Indiana State Police, Department of Natural Resources, all the agencies that assisted in this investigation and the prosecution of the defendant, I want to thank. They were attacked by members on the internet for their integrity. They were called
Hey, members on the internet talked bad about everybody.
corrupt. They were called evil.
Oh, corrupt, evil, hurts my feelings.
And they were called liars.
Oh, Tony Liggett's not a liar, even though he lied. Sorry, I just lost our place.
There was no groupthink.
A few of the things I am going to say are going to echo what Sheriff Liggett said, what Superintendent Carter said, and what Mike Patty said. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank some people along the way. Law enforcement, Carroll County Sheriff's Department, Indiana State Police, Department of Natural Resources, all the agencies that assisted in this investigation and the prosecution of the defendant, I want to thank. They were attacked by members on the internet for their integrity.
Ooh, boo-hoo.
They were called corrupt. They were called evil.
Yep.
And they were called liars.
Yeah. Bloody,
They
bloody.
weathered that storm with professionalism and did what they could to be a shield for the families. Spent countless hours chasing down leaks of crime scene photos.
Thanks to Mark Robert Cohen and Robert Fortson and Ruckus Rocks and Frank Meister and the crew.
Countless hours attempting to scrub the internet of those crime scene photos.
But didn't care to go and talk to Tyler Carpenter and ask him how he attained them.
And countless hours
Obtained.
office trying to protect the family as best as it could. And so to them, ISP, Carroll County Sheriff's Department, DNR, the other agencies that assisted, thank you. We would not be here today if it were not for your efforts and your countless hours that you sacrificed away from your family and your friends to give us the evidence that we needed to get the conviction. I want to thank my team, Stacy Diener, James Luttrell. There is no way I could have tried this case without them.
No, bud. But let me help you out there. There was no way you could have successfully tried this case without Judge Gull propping you up, holding your hand, supporting you, blocking the defense, and green lighting every single objection and certifying and approving every single motion without fail the entire time.
We spent countless hours working on this case, away from our families, away from our friends, and no one will understand the heart and the effort that they poured into this. So thank you.
All the while getting fat ass paychecks. Don't forget that. Fat ass. 6-figure paychecks, 6-figure salaries to every one of them.
I want to thank Kathy Shank. She kept us well fed. She was the grandmother of our office, if
Little old lady.
you will. She made sure that whatever we needed, she took care of, and she never complained. And without her, we would not be here. Without her countless
You're right about that, bud. And trust me, we'll be getting to the bottom of that.
hours of going over filings, of scanning in documents, of looking at reports, and having the wherewithal to bring this to the attention of Sheriff Liggett, to say, hey, I haven't seen this before. Has anybody followed up with this person?
Even though it said cleared, it shouldn't have been in that box in the drawer, and the whole story sounds fishy, and there's no evidence that anything ever happened the way that you all say it did, and it makes Doug so uncomfortable that he's touching his nose, which is a sign of uncomfortableness in the language of body language experts. So he's probably uncomfortable with the fact that you're mentioning the finding of the needle in the haystack tip that Kathy Shank did. But that's neither here nor there. Thank you, Meow Meow, for the super chat.
Without her, we would not be here. Without her, we would not have an arrest, a conviction, and a sentence. She was the key part to this investigation. The needle in the haystack, if you will, that brought this investigation to a close to where we could make an arrest. Kathy Shank, I thank you.
I'm sure you do.
And finally, the family. The Williams, the Germans, the Patties. Thank all you guys. The support you gave me throughout this. Those times when I said you had to abide by the gag order, that you wanted to respond to the things that were being put out there, the allegations against you, against your family members, that you respected me to the point where you were willing to agree to abide by that gag order for the betterment of the case. The fact that you supported me throughout it, and I know there may be times you doubted, but you endured. And without your help, we wouldn't have got the conviction. And without your victim impact statements and the graceful words that you gave to the court about how this has influenced your lives, we wouldn't have got the sentence.
No, bullshit. No, hold on. That's the gaslight. Let's be clear. You were going to get the max sentence possible no matter what. Victim statements, no victim statement, innocent, guilty, no matter, death sentence off the table. He was getting the maximum no matter what because it's Fran Gull, and we knew it was happening. We predicted it would happen. It was no doubt it was going to happen. Had nothing to do with victim statements. We can stop the hocus pocus and the sleight of hand. No one gives a fuck about any of that. Okay, we're not living in fantasy world. The victim statements didn't impact the judge so much and hit her consciousness and cause her to feel some type of way where she decided, you know what, I'm going to stick it to this Richard Allen, and she stuck it to Richard Allen, gave him the maximum sentence. That's not what happened. Come on, we're not in fantasy world here. This is reality. We already know that she knew she was giving the max sentence the second the jury handed the guilty verdict. Can we just be honest?
130 years, maximum sentence on each count. And so I thank you. Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Abby and Libby themselves. Libby for recording the defendant as he walked across the bridge.
No. That's a lie. That's a lie. Okay. Libby did not record Bridge Guy because she suspected anything was awry, or because she was a hero, or because she was a... You see how the one time he fucking mentions her name, he tells a lie about it or gaslights? Libby did not record Bridge Guy because she was some fucking super sleuth and Agatha Christie and realized that she had to capture evidence of this guy who was about to kill them. Okay, that never happened. And when people see for themselves the original video, they will quickly realize that those girls were not scared, and that they didn't sense danger, and that they didn't record that guy intentionally.
Having the wherewithal to pull out her phone and record that individual.
Gaslight.
Having the wherewithal to know that something wasn't right.
Gaslight. Illusion.
Arguably the biggest piece of evidence that we had.
Fantasy.
That recording of their killer.
Delusion.
And then to Abby.
Manipulation.
Hiding the phone.
Are you fucking kidding me? So he's doubling down on what he did in the closing arguments. Abby hid the phone because she knew it captured the killer, and she was trying to give the police something when they were dead. That is the most insulting, disrespectful, insane fucking thing you could say. The killers took the phone, planted it under her body under a shoe after she was dead. There were no fingerprints on the phone, not even Abby's. No DNA. The phone was wiped clean. The killers took the phone, wiped it clean, stuck it under the shoe, under the body. Nothing to do with being a hero, nothing to do with smarts, nothing to do with trying to solve her own murder and that of her friend. You are preying on the public's emotions and intelligence. It's manipulative.
Hiding the phone from the killer so that he couldn't take it with him. Hiding the phone so that law enforcement could find it and get that piece of evidence that Libby had collected.
Really? Really? And you know that to be a fact. You and everybody on that stage supporting you all know it to be a fact that Abby hid the phone from the killer, even though her body was moved and staged and the phone was wiped clean. And she did so to save the evidence that she knew that Libby had captured on the phone for police to find and be able to solve the crime. Is that the line you're going with? Is that the extent that you're willing to try to manipulate the public perception of this case? So you're saying that her body was not moved and staged, and Libby's body was not moved and staged, and that Libby knew she was recording that killer, quote unquote, and that Abby knew Libby had recorded that killer, quote unquote, and that Abby had the wherewithal to take a shoe, to put the phone under a shoe, and then stick it under her body, somehow wipe it off first and not leave a fingerprint on it, all for the police to find. You are causing the fetishization of the victims. It's absolutely unbelievable that you guys would do that. We don't have to fetishize these victims. They're not heroes. They're not sleuths. They're not solving their own crime. They're victims of a horrendous double homicide that was with a crime scene that was staged. Their bodies were moved, drained of blood. The phone was white cleaned. The phone was manipulated. The bodies were not there when the searchers went to find them. This is the most insane, unhinged doubling down on this narrative of a press conference that I would have never in my wildest dreams imagined that this is what it would have been. That this is what it was going to be.
Without the efforts from those two little girls, we wouldn't be here today.
No. Those girls made no effort. I'm sure they fought for their lives in trying to not die, but it had nothing to do with that fucking phone. People will dissect this for years to come, and you will regret those statements.
So Abby and Libby, thank you. I want to say we're very happy with the jury's verdict.
No kidding.
Related with the judge's ruling, or not the judge's ruling, the judge's sentence.
No shit.
The sentence is appropriate. As Judge Gall stated in court, the aggravators outweighed the mitigators, and the heinous nature of this crime deserve a fully executed sentence. I'll end with this. I want to thank the media for keeping this case in the forefront, for keeping the tips coming in for us to investigate. But I will leave you this word of caution. Please, as Superintendent Carter said, the crime scene photos are still out there, and more may be out there in the future. Please, if you receive those, delete those. Don't forward those on. Don't re-victimize the family and the other family members. You can write whatever story you want and report however you want. You do not need those crime scene photos to do so. All it does is re-victimize the families and hurt the reputation of Abby and Libby. So please, if you get those, do not forward those on. If you get any other crime scene photos or autopsy photos or anything, don't forward those on. As Superintendent Carter said, imagine if they were your kids, your grandkids. You can write a story without having those pieces as part of the narrative. So please, do not forward those on. I want to thank the community finally. Everybody in the community locally has supported my office, supported law enforcement. The show of support from them has been just unforgettable. I appreciate everything everyone's done. I appreciate the prayers. I appreciate the handshakes, the support, everything that everybody's done throughout this course of the 8-year investigation. When this investigation started, I was actually a defense attorney. I ran for the prosecutor's office in January 1st of 2018, and I knew coming into that office that this case was one that I would have to investigate. And I made it one of my goals not only to investigate it, but to get an arrest, have the trial, and get a conviction. And all the support I had throughout that time, I appreciate it. And so, as Trooper Pierce said, I'm going to answer a few questions. The gag order is lifted. You're more than welcome to talk to anybody up here individually afterwards if they want to talk to you. But I will take a few questions here and now.
What did you do to help the family navigate the emotions of the swirling narrative outside of the gag order and also the hate and vitriol put on this case?
It's not easy. It's hard to put yourself in their shoes because I've never had a child die. And so it was very difficult. It took a lot of phone calls, text messages, meetings. A lot of it was, hey, try not to read that stuff that you see on the internet, which is easier said than done. But a lot of it was just moral support and leaning on each other to say, we can't violate the gag order. Let's keep our eye on the ball. We need to get the trial, and we want to try to get the conviction, and then we can talk. And so it was just a lot of words of encouragement between each other, moral support, text message, phone calls, those kind of things. Go ahead.
What happened with Ms. O'Shea at the end of the hearing? What was that fight about?
It wasn't a fight. She was just commenting about some things that were said at sentencing, and I'm just going to keep those things to myself. Well, I don't know if she got up in my face.
Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of that story soon. Anyway, I'm done with that. I can't take another second of it. I can't take another second of it. All right, so we get some comments up on here. Yeah, and the thing about there are post press conference interviews as well. I'm not going to play those for you, but it's only a continuation. And actually, I would suggest everyone go seek those out. I would go seek those out. The you would be astounded at what some of these people say after this press conference on the one-on-one interviews. All right, so let's see. Next up. So we got some stuff to talk about. Just going to put some comments up for a second. But like I said, the whole thing, that press conference, you notice how it was all about them. It was all about them. They made it all about them. All about them. Okay, so check this out. All right, check this out. We're going to take a little trip down memory lane. Since they don't like to be criticized at all whatsoever, let's take a little trip down memory lane. All right, there's so many comments I'm having to skip. Thanks for everyone who's who sent a super chat or a little sticker or support. Thank you for supporting the channel. Okay. Also hit the like if you're in here and join the chat. If you're just watching, join the chat. We're going to take a little stroll down memory lane with this as context, with this press conference as context. Okay. I mean, you just can't make this shit up. Uh, so let's do a little trip down memory lane. I think you've seen enough of that. Um, yeah, I'm way behind on the chat, so I apologize. But the state of Indiana provided 2 undated reports never seen by the defense. Okay. Hey, Mar R. A lot of people have come in here. What's up, Aaron Town, Josh Womack, Mar R, Meow Meow, Snarky Ass Angel, all my girls coming up in here, and gentlemen, thanks for coming in. Jay Rabbit, we want to know what you know. One day, it's a fascinating story. I can't wait to tell it. Well, now would be a nice time, Carter. Who's your daddy? Everyone who's coming in, just a woman doing. Deb, I see a lot of people. Monday, all sorts of people have come in here. Okay, Judge Jessica, Post Punk Mama, Corner Piece. All right, Me Passenger 33. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming in. Yeah, let's look at memory lane here. State of Indiana provided 2 undated reports never seen by the defense. The first report provided some detail as how the state of Indiana explained that certain videotaped recordings between February 14, 2017 and February 20th, 2017, which would include Brad Holder, Freemason's interview, were erased. Therefore, the request has been satisfied. However, the other report details how all videos between April 28th and June 30th were also lost. This is news to the defense, as the defense was aware that certain videos did not contain audio, but was unaware that videotaped interviews between April 28th, 2017 and June 30th, 2017 were missing. This is most concerning. "70 days." Okay, those of you new, let me just say that. Those of you new to the Delphi murders case who have just witnessed this press conference, you should be aware that 70 days of interviews in the important first months of this investigation were all magically deleted, mysteriously disappeared, irreparably lost, never to be found again. No telling what those 70 days in the first few months contained. Every interview conducted for 70 days. Oh, but it gets worse. It gets worse. No record of whose interviews there were in those 70 days that was lost. Just imagine that. Imagine that. Just imagine, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Imagine you're running an investigation. Okay, let's back it up because I go too fast sometimes. Imagine that you are a detective. You had been a police officer for a while. You paid your dues. You decided to apply for detective. You made detective. You're in with a couple other detectives. You have a small unit who investigates. Okay, so if you've ever watched First 48, imagine you're one of those detectives in there. You know, you got two or three others, small little team. You guys go and like you pound the pavement all the time, every day. You bring people into the interview room. You interview them. You try to solve crimes. Now imagine you have in your jurisdiction, you have two little girls suddenly are found slaughtered in the woods, bloody murder, throats slashed, left like animals in the woods. Your only job, you had one job. You had one job. Figure out what happened. Bring people into that interview room, interview them. Make sure it's on fucking tape. Make sure you're taking notes. Okay? That's a revolving door. Who knows how many you do in a single day? It's not just you in the interview room, it's your two or three partners. It's several of you are running this investigation. You're bringing people in and out of this interview room. You're taking notes. You're recording it. You're possibly having to go back and reference things from time to time. So let's say on Monday you interviewed this guy, Jack, and you're like, you know what? Now it's Wednesday, and you're thinking, oh, you know what? I remember Jack saying, so let me pull that clip and pull that interview from the room when we brought Jack in, because I got to go over that second part again when he was talking about his mother and on that Saturday. So then you go back and you review what Jack was saying about at his mother's house on Saturday to try to tighten up like a hole in your notes or whatever, or confirm something. Maybe you've interviewed someone else subsequently and you want to go back to Jack and review. So you're having this type of thing going on, right? All right, so 70 days of that. Let me ask you, if you lost one of those days, would that not be important? If you lost a week, 1 week of that interview room, would not that be important? Uh, if you lost 2 weeks, you could probably no longer solve that crime. How about a month? 2 months? How about 70 entire days gone? What do you say, Prof? That's okay because none of that was important. Really? If the first 48 are that important, don't you think the first week would be important? February 14th to February 20th, you lost that entire first week. Then you went on to lose April 28th to June 30th entirely. Well, you say, well, that's okay, Prof, because that was just the first 6 months. Oh, really? Okay, first six. Okay. Question here. How was that not immediately discovered? I mean, question for you. You mean to tell me that for 6 months or more, they never had once to go back and review one of the recorded interviews? I'm curious. I'm just saying that, are you trying to tell me that I think it was in August when they discovered this problem? Allegedly, according to their bullshit story. So you're telling me that not once did anyone have the necessity to go back and review something from those interview rooms or those recordings of that interview room, whatever the case may be? It gets worse though. Do you also want me to believe that they cannot account for who was interviewed in those 70 days? I mean, that seems like it should be a pretty simple thing to do. Don't you have notebooks? Don't you know who was using that room to do interviews, interrogations? So you want me to believe that you couldn't get an understanding of who was conducting interviews in that room and then go and get all of their notes from those interviews, which surely would include the date written on it in the top, and say, oh yeah, on these days, now we have a full accounting, even though we've deleted or lost those 70 days, allegedly not intentionally. At least we have the handwritten notes of the detectives from their notepads. I mean, dude, like I said, how stupid do you have to be to believe any of it? But they don't want criticism. They don't want to be mocked. They don't want to be called liars. They don't want any criticism at all. And the whole point of the speeches were about mean old social media people on YouTube criticizing us, or Baldwin and Rozzi killed Fortson. But there's more stuff. There's more stuff like this. The defense received certain geofencing evidence that at least 3 persons were in or around the crime scene at a time while the murders were taking place. According to law enforcement's timeline, and none of the owners of the phones have any connection to Richard Allen. The geofencing evidence would provide evidence of any of the following scenarios. The persons walking with the phones are witnesses to who would have observed the murders as they were taking place. And none of them identified Richard Allen. Or B, the persons walking with the phones were witnesses who observed nothing because the murders did not take place the afternoon of February 13th. But the victims were possibly taken out of the crime scene and returned to the crime scene after the search was mostly called off at the midnight hour. Or C, even worse, those persons were participants in the murders. Geofencing was so important to somebody that they created a map and plotted the movements of the persons. Furthermore, the map shows that the other two phones and the persons carrying those phones were in and around the crime scene between 12:39 p.m. and 5:49 p.m. Well, guess what? There's also the oddity that someone plugged a 3.5 millimeter jack into that victim's phone at 5:44 p.m. No, I'm sorry, 5:45 p.m. Don't you find it odd that a 3.5 millimeter jack is plugged into that victim's phone at 5:45 p.m. and at 5:49 p.m. one of those phones leaves the geofencing? Oh, but no. You see, the geofencing was not allowed into the trial, even though it would seemingly at least seem to be relevant in some way. You know what else was not allowed? All of Derek German's law enforcement interviews, including audio, video, notes, reports, etc. If he was never interviewed, defense would ask for confirmation. For purposes of establishing a timeline, all of Kelsey's phone dumps of all phones attributable to Kelsey. If her phone was never collected, the defense would request confirmation of this fact. Furthermore, every law enforcement interview of Kelsey, including audio, video, and or notes or reports, if she was never interviewed, defense would ask for confirmation. All of Cody Patty's phone dumps and of all phones attributable to Cody Patty. Phone was never collected, defense would request confirmation. Every law enforcement interview of Cody Patty, including audio, video, notes, reports, memorializing interviews. If he was never interviewed, defense would ask for confirmation of the fact. There are two images that exist, but which the state of Indiana has not turned over. Those images can be found on the interwebs. At least one of those images seemingly was adopted by law enforcement as being legitimate, as it has been utilized by law enforcement in various media appearances, including a 2019 press conference. We are talking about the photo of Abby Williams walking on the bridge, purportedly taken at 2:07 p.m. on February 13, 2017, attributable to being sent from Snapchat via Liberty German's phone. Also, an image of the High Bridge purportedly taken at 2:05 p.m., also attributed to being sent via Snapchat from Liberty German's phone. Related to those items, defense would ask the court to compel the state of Indiana for the following: interviews or reports of Kyle Smith or anyone else that received either or both images taken on the bridge purportedly from 2:05 to 2:07. Oh, that would include Erica Gibson, would it not? All reports and analysis documentation detailing any information about images purportedly taken and sent out via Snapchat. Any reports, documentation, analysis from Snapchat or any law enforcement agency dealing with the data and the related metadata. any analysis related to those images that has been conducted by any law enforcement agency. If the state of Indiana does not believe the image of Abby walking on the bridge at 207 and the empty bridge taken at 205 are discoverable, because the state of Indiana does not claim those images as relevant or reliable, defense requests confirmation of same. All reports and or documents, including phone dubs from any phone or electronic device that was believed to possibly be a phone or electronic device of either victim used near the high bridge or in an area that was geofenced near the high bridge. Question for you. Why would any judge in their right mind not allow any of that into the trial of two dead little girls? What would be the problem with that? And you wonder why people might call you corrupt, might mock you, might think that you're lying. At different times during the hearing, Prosecutor McClellan spoke the following words as it relates to the potential for third-party culpability. This is still a very ongoing investigation. Our goal is to find anyone else who was involved in this heinous crime. That is in the public interest, to find anybody else involved and get justice for Abby and Libby. We have good reason to believe that Richard Allen is not the only person involved in this case, that there may be other actors involved. Really? That's why we left the tip line open. That's why we left the tip email open. Really? It puts the investigation in the best possible place to determine if anyone else was involved. So you wonder why people would suspect that there's something else going on here. There's more to this. Oh, but we couldn't allow any third parties into this defense, even though the prosecutor himself said we have reason to believe there may be other actors. Oh, no. No, 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 no. What the hell is going on in Delphi? Then we have this. Thank you, Heather. Multi-agency task force clarifies points about the Delphi murder suspect sketches. Oh, really? Really? In the early days and months of the Delphi murder investigation, information was developed about suspect descriptions, plural. It was initially believed the sketch that has been made public over the last 2 years of a person in the age range of 40s to 50s was a person of interest in this murder investigation. Now, as the investigation has matured and past information has been reassessed, it is the belief now, 2019, of investigators with the multi-agency task force that the person depicted in the sketch released on April 22nd, 2019, more accurately represents the person wanted for the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. It's important to distinguish these points about the two sketches. One, they are not the same person. Two, the person depicted in the originally released sketch, the old guy, is not presently a person of interest in this investigation. Three, the sketch released on April 22nd, the young guy, is representative of the face of the person captured in the video on Liberty German's cell phone as he was walking on the high bridge. The person in the sketch released April 22nd is described as having a youthful appearance, but could fall into the age range from his 20s to late 30s. The person's appearance could look different today if he's grown a mustache, beard, or let his hair grow longer or cut his hair shorter than depicted in the sketch. So, what was that? And you shun criticism? That is your press release. I mean, it says Indiana State Police up top, Lafayette District, contact Kim Riley, April 24th, 2019. Seems pretty specific in its bullet points, does it not? But you, Doug Carter, you come behind this and contradict it. You say, no, they're not two different people. They're both the same person, and the person behind them or between them, or if you put them together, how does that work? How does that work? Because the first bullet point says they are not the same person. They are not the same person. The person depicted in the originally released sketch is not presently a person of interest. Um, that's why I say it's an insane press conference. What you could have done is says, "Hey, we understand there's a lot of emotions or controversy about some of the statements we've made over the years, because we're very well aware that we've contradicted ourselves on several occasions, including that Prof just spoke of. We're also very aware that it's really it looks really bad to delete 70 days worth of interviews and not be able to account whatsoever for it. We understand that. We understand that it looks pretty bad for us to have had contact with Richard Allen just days after the murders of Abby and Libby, and and that for years it was cleared. It was a clear tip with cleared stamped on it, and so obviously it was cleared. It was no concern, and we understand that there's some consternation because right before an important election where we were going to lose control of this investigation, we're very much aware that it looks kind of bad that we magically discovered this tip, this needle in a haystack that had been there the entire time, marked cleared. We understand that people are upset about the investigation of Ferenczi and his subsequent assassination outside of his FBI office. We understand that that looks bad, and we understand people are upset that he's killed, and we do respect the work that he did, and we understand that that he had a strong feeling about his work, and that there are a lot of facts in all of that, but still we don't feel it's necessarily relevant to, or pertinent anymore. And and yes, we understand that it looks pretty bad to not collect the sticks that were arranged over the bodies in an attempt to form bind runes or something like them. We understand that it looks pretty bad to not collect those bloody sticks immediately when we collected at the crime scene. We understand it looks pretty bad to leave that behind. We understand that it looks pretty bad to not test the DNA of the hair wrapped around the victim's finger. Yeah, we understand that looks pretty bad. We understand that the judge, the judge was somewhat gave the appearance of partiality, and we understand that, and it's understandable that people would be upset because judges are not supposed to, or they're supposed to try to avoid the appearance of being partial to any a party here. We also understand that our prosecutor and some of his office and someone in the judge's office was directly giving information to some of the YouTubers who were spinning their narrative, which Prof calls a troll farm. We understand that that was going on, and we understand that that people would not be happy with charges being dropped against Westerman and his record being expunged, and us blaming all of that on Andy and Brad. Yes, we understand that too. You know, but despite all of that, we would ask you to please see past our shortcomings and all the suspicious shit. Oh, by the way, we also understand that people would be upset that Dan Doolin did not record or could not find the recording of the alleged interaction with Alan, and also happened to destroy his notes, his handwritten notes from that internet. We understand all of that, and we understand that that there are other third-party suspects who, over the years, have been overlooked or not looked at enough, and people who have somewhat confessed, who have placed themselves there. We understand that people wonder about Daniel Pearson and Shelby Hicks, and also about Herrera, Collier, and Mata, and those three little girls that were classmates that were there, and also the Brown family, and we understand about all these people that were allegedly out there, and we understand that there was a pig roast or a gathering at Ron Logan's where a bunch of drug use was going on. We understand all that too, and we do apologize that we never really investigated any of those people or follow down those leads in the right way, because we understand people be upset about that. And we also are aware that we did not immediately go check Ron Logan's house or the Mears house or the Webbers. We understand that there was a lot of delays, that we probably should have done that immediately. You could have done anything along those lines. That would have been a press conference that would have formed a bridge with some of the public to say, we fucked up, but please understand that we're sorry we fucked up, and it's just because we're a bunch of retards, and sorry we fucked up, and we know it's about two dead little girls, and we're sorry, and but still we ask you to just please let's go with this, and we'll show you some proof. And we also understand that we promised to tell you a fascinating story one day, and tell you everything we know, so that you can your suspicions can be alleviated. We understand that. But no, you didn't do none of that. You didn't do none of that. Instead, you got on and you whine like little babies about YouTubers and about the two lawyers who were not allowed to do their job. And then you blame them for the death of Robert Fortson, a veteran, Robert Kyle Fortson. How dare you blame those two lawyers for his death? Did those lawyers go and interview him and threaten him and ignore his, what was it, 7 or 9 multiple requests for counsel, invoking his right to counsel? How many times did he invoke that right to counsel, and you just kept talking anyway, and yelling and screaming and pressuring him? And your YouTubers who were working for you, who were doing your bidding, they refused to talk to him after throwing him under the bus and giving him up to you. They threw him under the bus, and you went and you threatened the fuck out of him, and he went and blew his head off. But you're blaming the two lawyers for that? Did the lawyers threaten him repeatedly as he continuously asked for counsel? Did the lawyers refuse to pick up the phone and talk to him when he was repeatedly reaching out to try to get some sort of solace? You'll realize you did everything wrong with that presser. It was not the way to handle things. I mean, look at what else you ignored. You ignored the cartel, buddy. People know that you've ignored the criminal underworld in Indiana. We know it. We know that you intentionally look the other way. Why are you intentionally looking the other way when you have a cartel that is supplying your fucking state, supplying your suppliers? You got 2 little girls dead. Their father being a major meth dealer, Derek German. Gabe Ellis supplying him. Christy Lynn Martin. Tina Rodell says she called Sheriff Lesenby. She said the men with her daughter were Elijah Cook, Keegan Callis, Josh Weaver, Tyler Joe French, Travis Janicki, and Blake Hicks. She said her daughter called from the bridge on the 13th, and when Megan came home on the 15th, she was in horrible condition. She alleges her daughter was raped and beaten by a bunch of men as an initiation. It's rumored it was for the sons of Odin or Odinists or something like that, heathens. She also claimed her daughter came home with a pair of earrings. She shared that the Delphi murders could have been an act of retaliation against Derek German because Derek snitched on Christy Lynn Martin, Keegan Callis, Tyler Joe French, and Jeff Reagan, who happened to be running that area. It's rumored that Eric Alter was associated with this crew along with Abby's uncle, Libby's dad, and possibly Garrett Kurtz and Greeno. And Tina said that Cheyenne and Cheryl were there with the group. She also shared her story with Harvey Carroll. Some of the details are different than what she shared all over the fucking internet. Harvey claims Tina said Josh Hewitt may have been with the group. Josh Hewitt told Megan who started the Flora fires. Tina's daughter's, Megan's assault or initiation happened in a gray barn near the bridge. Derek, Libby's dad, ripped off Christy Lynn Martin, meth making supplier. These guys are part of the Kokomo crew. They were out at the bridge camping out the night before, you know, when Megan was frantically calling her mother to come get her. There were rumors that people were making meth and stuff out there. There was also a rumor that Robert was dating Cheyenne. That is unconfirmed. Well, I don't know about that. Megan and Keegan went to the bridge that day and allegedly met up with the Kokomo crew people who had drug war motives against Libby's dad. Tina claimed Megan was high as fuck. Called her multiple times in the AM and stabbed Abby in the side of the neck while staring her in the eyes. But sure, nothing to see here. Nothing to worry about. It's only the murder of 2 little girls. Did I tell you Blaine Nelson's body? Why was he killed? Why was he killed? There are claims that Kelsey and Libby were screaming at each other in the Mears parking lot. according to a third-party witness. One of the last texts sent by Libby was to Anna Williams around 1 or 2 to ask if Abby could stay for supper at the Germans. Claims that the way she wrote this text, or the vernacular, was unlike the way she normally texted or talked. Oh, what do we have here? Let me put this down a minute. You see, there's more than meets the eye. And people have always known it. Why? Because the people in the community, both who were there that day, are part of the search, are relatives, and the people they talked to subsequently have come onto the internet or onto the telephone and talked to us and told us all sorts of things, some which check out. There were a lot of people out there. Here's where the fucking problem exists. The problem revolves around the fact that there were a lot of people out there on the 13th and 14th. You've let too much information out from the community into the YouTube or the social media sphere online, and all of that information is spread. And guess what? Now the investigators have it. You can't put that cat back in the bag. Just another oddity. People want to know, what about those people who are out there that we didn't hear from as witnesses? You know, like the classmates, the 3 girls, like Daniel Pearson, Shelby Duncan, Isabella Voorhees. People want to hear from the girls who heard the screams at 2 a.m. Oh, yeah. Yes, they do. People want to hear from those 3 individuals in the geofencing. Oh, yeah. They do. People want to hear from people in those unidentified vehicles that were out there. See, people want to hear from everyone who has something to say and has knowledge of what happened. And people have suspicions, okay? People see shit like this. Well, let's talk about this. Are you aware in this offense, my understanding is that Miss Carba and Miss Blair didn't want to do a sketch, but they were pressured by police to assist in the investigation. Seems like a whole lot of pressure going on with this police department or this investigation, these ISP. Why so much pressure from everybody? See, because what you don't realize, when you do this kind of pressure, you have people killing themselves, you have people lying, you have people getting scared. And if you have people cooperating out of pressure and fear, they might not be giving you the best info. They were pressured by police to assist in the investigation. Is that a true statement? Yes. Okay. Guess what? What? So Rayleigh's mom reached out to me yesterday. Law enforcement interviewed her again within the last several months. And look, this is March 8th, 2020. So this would have meant January, February of 2020. And basically tried to get her to agree that the young guy sketch, the recent sketch, the young guy sketch is who she saw. When she didn't go along, they told her she wasn't a credible witness. So you're pressuring Rayleigh to agree that she saw that young bridge guy, that young sketch? Okay, so you're pressuring Sarah and Betsy to cooperate with the investigation and give sketches, and you're pressuring Rayleigh about who she saw in as being the young sketch. So you guys get what I'm hinting at here? You're pressuring Betsy and Sarah to assist in the investigation and do sketches. And then you're pressuring Rayleigh to agree about the sketch that one of those girls allegedly produced. How much of this that we've ended up with is the result of this pressure? I mean, shit, if I'll be honest, you also pressured Kelsey. Remember Kelsey saying, I was interviewed this time, and I was interviewed again, and I was interviewed again, and I was interviewed again. And, they had to treat me like I was a criminal. It's blah, blah, blah. They had to be mean to me. And I would say I'd forgive him, but I'm not going to forgive him. He didn't have to talk to me that way. I just needed some time. Did you pressure Taya Miller? Or the other girls? Did you even talk to the classmates at all? Did you pressure Daniel Pearson? Why haven't you pressured anyone threatening to kill us for the past fucking 2 years? Because you've allowed the people who you have on this internet pushing your narrative to threaten to kill us repeatedly. Why haven't you pressured them and say, stop threatening to kill people on the internet talking about Delphi? You can keep doing our bidding, but just stop threatening to kill them. Well, look, I know his address and his phone number, and I told Jerry, I'm tired of this shit. And Jerry said, look, we're going to put charges on the prof. Yeah, that's right. We are tired of it. The gloves are off. Yeah, well, I'm going to come in your house and I'm going to kill you. You see, all your little fucking minions, you chose the wrong group because they are the ones who have come onto the internet and actually committed crimes while doing your bidding. You see, I'm fucking tired of getting threatened. I'm fucking tired of it. I am absolutely fucking tired of the people who are working for the Indiana State Police doing their bidding on YouTube, coming and fucking threatening to kill me, to come to my house, to put my address online, to put my phone number online. Fuck that. Fuck you. And that's just me. What have you done to others? Well, I saw Nick and I was like, I'm not going to let nobody know that we talked behind the scenes. And he said, Becky Pat eats dinner, but I talked to Becky and she didn't invite me to Christmas dinner. Oh, there's a Christmas dinner? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why am I not invited? You see, when the family and law enforcement have people coming after us for our public commentary, there's a problem. You're threatening us, harassing us, stalking us, trying to hack us. By the way, let's talk about that. What about this hacking attempt from Nicholas McClelland's own email that went out to everyone on this side before the sentencing? You better hope that's not trackable because it looks like crimes were committed. That was a clear hacking attempt at half of us here on this side. So you've got people threatening to kill us, to sue us, to criminally charge us, to publish our home and phone number, personal information, and trying to hack us on behalf of who? The family and law enforcement? And the prosecutor? Shit. Matter of fact, I I I've been waiting to give this to you guys. Okay. I found some really, really amazing, incredible footage. Okay. I found the actual footage of Doug Carter finding that last piece of the puzzle. Remember, they have a completed picture, an aerial view, and they just need that last piece of the puzzle. Well, I found the footage of the moment Doug Carter found the last piece of the puzzle. You'd like to see it? I'll show it to you guys. I've been waiting to show it. Here it is. This is Doug Carter finding that last piece of the puzzle. And now he can tell us that incredible story. Watch. It's just amazing. Oh, there he is. There he is. Oh, I think he's finding it. Oh, look. There it is. Oh, he got it. Oh, shit. Oh, no. One more time. One more time. The instant replay. For those of you who've missed it. There he is. Doug Carter. Doug Carter. But there's it. Oh, get it. Oh, that's that piece of the puzzle. There he, oh. He couldn't handle it. It's all you're ever going to get. You never get anything other than that. So let it be known that today is the day we found the last piece of the puzzle. Yep. So let's see what we got here. In 2014 and 2015, says Matt Sullivan, who's someone I've come to like, by the way. Derek German was arrested and convicted of multiple counts of manufacturing and distribution of methamphetamine. This was hardly his first offense, too. Well, after being labeled a recidivist criminal by the courts, he took a plea that saw him cooperate with the DEA, FBI, and ISP. Instead of getting 20 years, he got a mere 1,100 days. Well, our favorite judge, he suspended the sentence of the presiding judge and commuted his 1,100-day sentence to just 1 day time served. Why, what a nice guy, right? Wrong. You see, Derek got his supply from Gabriel Ellis, who has ties to the Sinaloa drug cartel out of Chicago. Ellis is a bad man with bad intentions, a child predator, and violent felon. One who has at least 10 previous criminal charges throughout the years, all drug, sexual violence, and child predator related. But get this. Fouts ensured that he was never locked up, so he would get a few months here and there for charges that should see him locked up for years. Keep in mind that Fouts jailed an 80-plus-year-old Ron Logan for 4 years for a driving offense. Of course, you see what I'm getting at. Anyway, Ellis, in my opinion, sought revenge with Derek through his daughter. This is why Libby was desecrated like that. Only months earlier, another girl, Karina McClurkin, an 18-year-old from Kokomo, went missing, last seen near this piece of trash. Keep in mind, his vehicle at the time, a white Pontiac Grand Am, was likely the one also described by investigators as being parked at the former CPS lot near the trails on February 13, 2017. It's our job to point the finger at law enforcement, who have done nothing but protect themselves by stalling closure for the families and for the public. Now, where's the lie? Where's the lie in that? It's been headaches. It's been headaches. And there's so many questions that remain unanswered about this due process, okay? It's like a major assault on our way of life or constitution. The criminal network, that name needs to really apply to this contingent in Indiana, because the real question is it not criminal to violate our constitutional rights of due process? How many times did Fortson invoke his right to an attorney? What about Rick Allen? How many days was he without an attorney? How many hearings? Like there's a lot of questions with Rick Allen. What about the constitutional rights of pretrial detainees? Do pretrial detainees not have rights? I mean, it brings tears to my eyes. It really does. I get choked up. Because it's not hyperbole to say it could be any one of us at any moment. Most of us here in this community of commentators have been the victims of crime. These internet crimes perpetrated against us to intimidate, harass, to scare us off of this case, to silence us. And I wonder about old fucking Rick Allen. What are the rights of us out here in the world who have not been convicted of crimes? They've done a lot of harm to a lot of people. What's up, Skip? Well, I think I've just talked myself down into a slump that I need to just go ahead and wind it down because I'm not feeling like continuing. But pardon me. This is my response to that insane post sentencing press conference. I literally could not believe my eyes and ears. And I still can't. True Crime Design put out a good video on Anthony Shots. Go watch her video on Anthony Shots. It's about 30 minutes. It's good. Um, Michelle After Dark put out a good video on Greg Ferenczi. Go watch it. It's good. It's about 16 minutes. um, tomorrow we'll do a show. Come back and watch for the show tomorrow. It should be good. And then I'm working on a Christmas show that will be extremely special for you. So I promise you that I'm going to do a Christmas show that's going to be a special Christmas show for you. Promise you that. And also, I do plan on doing a show tomorrow that should be good. Okay. So, all right. Thank you, Josh. Um, let me say, please support the channel. We have the Cash App pinned at the top of the chat. Please hit the Cash App. That comes right to me right away. I love the Cash Apps. Uh, and we also have all the other pathways of super chats and all the other stuff. So please support the channel. We appreciate that. Also, if you're on the replay, please leave comments down below because comments help the algorithm. At least I think they do. And hitting the like hits the algorithm. All these things hit the algorithm. So do the nice things for the channel and join the community. If you've been lurking, even come in just to say goodnight to us because we appreciate that. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and then I'm going to go bake our wonderful pie because I like to let the pies cool overnight. So I have everything ready to make my pie. And since I'm feeling a little down, I think that I'm tired anyway. It'll be great if I go over there, make the pie. It'll be ready for tomorrow, and that'll be wonderful. And I'll feel better after I get that pie smelling the house up. So like I said, tomorrow we'll do a show for sure, and then hopefully Tuesday, which would be Christmas Eve. So that's what's up. All right. So thanks everybody. Let me put some more chats up, and we'll get out of here. Yeah, can you believe they pressured all these witnesses? And like I said, what about the excluded witnesses? What about all the witnesses who were excluded? They've been treated like the 70 days of interviews. Gone. All right. Yeah, Nikki, I've talked about that before. Who knows? Who knows at this point? I want to hear from the searchers who claim they covered the area and found the girls. At least they said they weren't there. All right. There's lots of chats. I'm just gonna scrub through them all. I apologize. I'm skipping over a bunch, but Shelly Klein, thank you for the super sticker. I didn't see that. I'm just seeing it. I'm pretty far in behind in the chat. Thank you, Shelly. uh, shit, I've worn myself out. I'm completely drained. Let's see. Okay. How could the FBI not push for truth when one of their own was taken? Well, that's why I think that there's no way they're looking the other way. How could the FBI be looking the other way? I just I don't understand. All right. Just James, thank you for the $2 super chat. Okay. All right. What a nice chat. There's so many nice chats in here. All right. All right. All right. Turns my stomach with what Susan Hendricks is blaming R.A. Daughter, saying even she identified him as BJ and she could not even look at her dad in the court. Yeah, you know what? She's one of them. She's one of them. I can't stand her. Okay. All right. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you for the uplifting chat. Yes. Happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas to all my people, and happy holidays if you don't like Christmas. And lurkers, smile on your brothers. Everybody lurk together. Try to love one another right now, and hit the good night prof in the chat, because then I'll know you're lurking. Pie, yeah, I'm going to make a wonderful pie, so I'm going to go do it. It's been a nice little show, though. Hey, Jen. Good night, Jen. All right, everyone's so awesome here. Hard to tell. What's up, Jake Brooks? Thanks for the super chat, Jake Brooks. Let's see. I got to thank our super chatters. Meow Meow, 26 dead zombies, dude. Thank you. Bjorn, thank you. Heather Brown, thank you. Meow Meow, thanks again. Starlight Synchronicity, Amy, Jake Brooks, Shelly Klein, and Just James. Thanks a lot, super chatters. What's up? Okay. Whoops. Okay. I'm so glad to have so many to listen to and feel the same. Thank you all for what you're saying, dude. Thank you, Prof. God be with you. Have a wonderful family gathering for Christmas. Well, I'll see you before then. Yeah, we'll see you guys before Christmas twice, hopefully. Tomorrow and then the next day. That's the goal. All right, so Shirt and Tibbets, enjoy the pie. Have a piece for me. I will, because I'm going to eat half the damn thing. All right. Oh my gosh, I am exhausted. My shoulder hurts. All right. Well, but it's been good, and thank you, Skip. Prof, you're tired because you've done a lot of work. Thank you. Yeah, so have you, and everyone in the chat has just been wonderful. Thanks, everyone in the chat. Appreciate you. Thanks for supporting the channel and being here for the chat. Like I said, it's conversations in the chat have always been incredible, and hopefully will continue to be. It's been a great chat. All right. Thank you, Nikki. All right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Tammy. What's up, Tammy? Cars and people around the trails are excluded. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Everyone wants to know. All the people who were not brought into this, all the evidence that was not brought in. Why exclude so much? I mean, dude, who knows? Back to the 70 days. Who knows what was in those 70 days that was omitted? Did the omission of those 70 days allow the indictment of Richard Allen? Is that what it took? Sure does seem like it. All right, it's at least very likely. Okay. What channel had the Pharisee? It was Michelle After Dark. Michelle After Dark. Go look on my little channel, Prof True Crime. I posted the link. Okay. So Michelle did a great video, as well as True Crime Design. Okay. So those are two good videos to go watch. Christmas gifts from those two ladies. So appreciate them and appreciate all of you. So good night, everyone. I love you. My little boy will be so happy that I'm done, and we'll go cook a pie and have some nice time before it gets too late. And I'll see you tomorrow. All right. So God bless.